Very early on the first day of the week, when the sun had risen, the women went to the tomb. And they had been saying to one another, "Who will roll away the stone for us from the entrance of the tomb?" And when they looked up, they saw that the stone, which was very large, had already been rolled back. Did you know rocks are a hot commodity? Now, I'm not talking about pebbles or pea gravel. I'm talking about boulders, refrigerator big chunks of stone. And the price tag, well, let's just say it's not cheap. But you won't a shapely looking stone look fantastic in your backyard or in your playground or in your garden. A rock to fit your landscape needs is for sale right now, and you might even consider a special monolith for your living room or for your den. But believe it or not, ornamental rock sales now net more than over $1 million annually. And many of these granite gems are harvested from the 23,000 boulder-rich acres of the Sierra Nevada foothills, shipped to anyone willing to pay the price to enjoy an uncommon stone trophy. Oakland, California artist Kim Torres makes it her business to locate the right boulder for your needs, and Kim says that there is a calming permanence when you see that weight sitting there. A calming permanence. Big rocks as relaxation therapy. The troop of ladies we read about in the text from Mark's Easter story confronted a big rock. It was hardly relaxing for them. There was indeed a permanence. This rock trophy was a monument to the enemy's power of destruction and death. Who shall roll the stone away for us? The rock blocked the entrance to the tomb, denying access to Jesus. To the woman on this mournful sunrise journey to the borrowed tomb of Joseph of Arimathea, the rock was profoundly disturbing. The rock, soon to be the anchor of their resurrection faith, was at that moment a bitter and unyielding witness to death's power. The rock was a symbol of death's relentless, stubborn pursuit of humankind. Even Jesus, yes, even Jesus, Lord of life, was dead. Jesus too walked through the valley of the shadow of death, and the rock was rolled to the entrance of that borrowed tomb. All light, all hope was shut off. That stone bore testimony to the permanence, to the finality, and the changelessness of death. The rock guarded the grave's blackness and preserved the crypt's bleakness. Death ruled. All bowed before King Crypt. Its horrible shadow was lengthened to cover even Jesus, or at least so it would have seemed to the women on that first Easter morning. Had death not taken into its rocky jaws even the Lord who had declared to them, "I am the resurrection and the life," the rock of death, menacing and threatening, ominous, unmovable. Who shall move the stone away for us? And that question gathers up the mournful inquiry of the whole universe. These women seem to have put into language the great sigh of universal humankind. Who shall roll away the stone? Philosophy has joined the quest to peer beyond the rock for some hope, for some glimmer of light. Religion has ventured to penetrate the dark empire with light, but the rock survives, a relentless obstruction to peace. Cults of every hue have come and gone, attempting to shake death's heavy stone from its moorings. Some of these cults, such as the mass suicide of 39 people in the Heaven's Gate cult, have left tragedy in their wake, proving rather than negating death's power. Some rich celebrities, of much more secular mind than to bother with cults, are not without their own attempts to rock the rock. Some have even tempted to have their remains frozen in cryo state to be thawed out when our scientific knowledge has sufficiently advanced to cure their disease. Yes, even science and technology join the crusade to roll the awful stone away from the crypt's door. Despite predictions of a day of victory when the enemy shall have been defeated, death always seems to win. The rock always is rolled into place, bringing fearful darkness and often awesome permanency. The rock has not been moved by science, not by money, not by philosophers, and not by religion. No amount of skill can seem to budge it from its legitimate birth. No amount of techno-wizardry has been able to conquer the cornerstone of Satan's grim castle. The women were thinking to themselves that that stone was large. There was no escape. Back in the mid-1990s, there was a movie some of you might remember called The Rock. And the setting was Alcatraz, and Alcatraz, as you know, is a famous federal prison in the San Francisco Bay that stands on 12 acres of solid rock. And because of this startling physical feature, the prison was known as The Rock. And in this movie, the rock is more of a harmless pebble than a large stone, for the prison, been shut down since 1963, remained open only to tourist attractions for the curious. Children visit there on school outings. Tourists are led up and down the once foreboding cell blocks as they hear guides make a claim that there was never a successful escape from the rock. Well, in the movie, that's untrue. For one man, the hero of the movie, played by Sean Connery, had in fact been the only one to escape many, many years earlier. And The Rock is about to see action once more as a heavily armed terrorist group takes over the former prison with chemical weapons capable of taking out the entire coast of Northern California. These terrorists take the tourists as hostage, locking them into the cell blocks that they had come to see, and now they really get a feel for what it was like to be locked up in the rock. And that's where our hero comes in, this one man who had escaped from the rock many years earlier, this one victor over the rock's boast of total victory, must be found. He must break back into the rock to foil the evil plans and to rescue the people, escorting them to safety. Now, I tell you that because that's not a bad analogy. For death's ominous rock has been conquered, but by one. The rock's defeat renders death more a pebble than a huge stone. Yet, despite that victory, we are still hostages to the rock's grip. Despite that victory, the rock of death remains fearful, bleak, mysterious, and scary. And now the one victor, even Jesus, who has broken the rock's power years before, must come to us, foil the enemy's plan, and escort us out of this place of death. So I mentioned earlier about having a rock in your living room, and I wonder how many people would actually have a rock in their living room. But you must admit that a rock would make an uncommon trophy, a trophy of God's grandest victory. Death has been swallowed up by victory. And maybe Kim Torres was right. Huge rocks do have a calming permanence about them when we look at the rock with Easter eyes. The stone, very large, has already been rolled away. The horrible rock of death is now but a trophy of Christ's victory. The cornerstone of the enemy's grim and horrible castle has been toppled. Psalm 18:46 says it best. The Lord lives, blessed be my rock, and exalted be the God of my salvation. Amen.